Hello, Debt Rebel. I am so happy to be with you today. And I just want to say a special welcome. If this is your very first time listening to the show, I hope that today is some of your most valuable time because it's going to give you some time back with your family, but also help you maximize your hard-earned money because time is money. The way we spend our money helps us dictate how we spend our time. So today I'm just grateful to have your attention and want to say a special thank you because this show has been nominated for a Women Podcasting Award and voting comes up in May. So thank you for helping to grow this show and to share it with the people in your life that you want to encourage in their finances. Our culture doesn't like to talk about this topic, and I will talk about it all day long. I love it. We're almost 50 episodes into this show, and it has been really helpful for me processing my family's journey with eliminating debt from our life, but also just the conversations that I've had with my clients and listeners to the show. I want to create a space and a community where it's safe to talk about these things and have the conversations that are sometimes really hard to have. And so thank you for tuning in and continuing to share this show. And I'm very excited because in May, I've got some great feedback from people that have been part of our community for a little while and have shared ideas. And I'm like so excited to record those episodes. So in May, you're going to get a new episode on Tuesday and a new episode on Friday. And so stay tuned for that. I love recording episodes that are things that are going to help and encourage you and the rest of our community, the Debt Rebel community. So welcome to the Debt Rebel podcast, where we discuss the ins and outs of personal finance for families so you can eliminate the burden of debt, create financial margins, and learn a new way to interact with your money. I'm your host, Jules the Budget Nerd, and I have been in your shoes. My husband and I have paid off over $107,000 in consumer debt until we finally threw in the towel and decided it wasn't for us. Throughout our journey, we learned another way to do life without debt, and that's my hope for you. You can learn more about our story and see full show notes on my website, julesthebudgetnerd.com. That's JEWLZ, thebudgetnerd.com. Now let's dive into today's episode. Today, I want to talk about, it is April 1st, and this is not a joke. My almost 6-year-old is really excited about April Fools this year, and it's really funny because she has discovered what pranks are. And so it's really funny because she tells us what they are, which is funny in itself because, she's missing the point of the prank in the first place. Part of it's the element of surprise, which she knows her mom and knows that surprises aren't really my thing. I like to anticipate things, but not in a scary way. So maybe that's why I am Jules the Budget Nerd, because I like to plan for things, including the unexpected. So the funny thing about unexpected expenses, we just don't know when they're coming, but we know they're coming, right? So we don't know when, but like this last week, we had to go to the emergency room. So there we are. So that's not something that we ever want to happen. But if you're a parent and you're raising children, at some point, you're probably going to have an ER visit. And so we have money set aside we know how much for our copay for our insurance. And there's a whole episode about that. I'll put that in the show notes. But being prepared for unexpected things is going to help your finances in a huge way because it's not going to direct you back to the credit card. So the goal of this show, if you're new to this show, is creating debt rebels. And that's the Debt Rebel podcast. That's what I am all about. Jules the Budget Nerd here is creating a budget so that we don't have to use a credit card for emergencies or anything else in our life, because it is stealing time from ourselves for things that we would rather do because we're trying to maintain a debt load or pay things off that we could have paid for yesterday at a much cheaper rate. So before I get off on a whole tangent about that, I'll put some episodes in the show notes. So if you are brand new to the show, if that's something that you're like, what is she talking about? That's why the show exists, because I am on a personal mission to help families break the paycheck to paycheck cycle so they can raise the next generation to rebel against debt. So if that's something that you're like, tell me more, then I would love to have a conversation with you. I'll also put in the show notes ways that you can connect with me. I would love to help you with your finances. That's what we're going to talk about today. It's April 1st.
And I wanted to talk about some of the things that we forget about in April. So this is part of our Alliance coaching membership also, is going through this every single month and saying, hey, are these expenses that apply to our family this month? And being able to plan ahead for those so that you don't go to that credit card to pay for those things, but you can use your debit card or you can use cash if that's feasible in the situation. But things like taxes. So making sure that you have put in your budget for the month or maybe the last few months. If you have to pay taxes this year or just the tax preparation fees, that you have that in your budget. I'm not a tax accountant or anything like that. I'm just sharing from my experience, having a plan for that and knowing that those things are coming and what that amount is so that you can pay for those when it comes. Also, spring break is coming up. So for some of you, depending on where you are in the country, you might have already had your spring break. And so this would have been in last month's budget for you. But if you have any travel plans or activities planned, I know that our family is coming up on spring break and we've got some fun activities planned. Thankfully, there's a lot of really fun things to do for free in our area. So check out the libraries. A lot of the local libraries have really great programs going on. So that can help keep your kiddos entertained if you have the luxury of being off with them. Otherwise, there's also camps, the extra expenses of some camps. And that might be something too. If you know that you're going to be working this summer and your kids are going to be off school and you need to plan ahead for some childcare or some camp situations, that's another great thing to add into your budget now so that when you have to pay for those registration fees, they're available. That money's available to you. If your family celebrates Easter and whatever that looks like for your family, whether that's new outfits or if you do gifts, decorations, of course, food, that kind of stuff. I know that our family is very excited for Easter this year and has some fun stuff planned. But if your family likes to do maybe special photos or something like that, then put those in the budget because those things are important for you and your family. And that's why creating a budget that aligns with what matters to your family is going to creating that space in your budget to be able to say yes and plan those expenses out is going to be helpful in the long run. Also, I'm in the Pacific Northwest. The weather is getting better. If you have a yard or any type of landscape that you need to take care of, whether you do that yourself or you have someone that takes care of that for you, making sure that those expenses are added in. Maybe it's getting your air conditioning and all of that stuff serviced so that when the warmer weather hits, you're ready for that. Car maintenance. This is also a great one. Oh my gosh. Last week, this happened for us. I had a scheduled service planned and then my car started acting up a few days before. And so we ended up having to get it towed again. Unexpected because we hadn't planned for that to happen yet. It happened on a Friday and we had our service already pre-scheduled for that Tuesday, just as a regular thing, but something happened on Friday. So we had to have it towed. Was that an extra expense? Yes, making sure that your car maintenance is taken care of. So planning for oil changes or tires, things like that. Also on the list is that summer planning, whether you have some vacations in mind, maybe your kids, you want to get them into swim lessons. This is a really popular thing for the summer, where summer camps, other fun activities that are outside of the normal expenses that you would have maybe in the wintertime or in the springtime. Also weddings. So if you have gotten a save the date recently, so wedding gifts, or if you need to travel, special outfits for that big event, then put those in the budget now so that when that time comes and you see that perfect outfit and you're like, I need this for that wedding, then you can just swipe your debit card instead. And then you've got that perfect outfit for that special day. Sports and extracurricular activities. I know coming into spring sports, making sure you've got your kids' physicals and those kinds of things taken care of. There's extra fees with that, uniforms, and then there's always those extra fundraisers that come up. If your child's played that sport before and it's just part of the regular fundraising thing, maybe it's something you can even reach out to the coach and say, hey, is this something that we're going to, as a parent, are you going to be expected to do? And then you'll know ahead of time if that's something, and then you can plan ahead for that. Allergy medicine or any other prescriptions or over-the-counter medications, and then making sure that, clothes like warmer weather, kids are getting into maybe a different size. And right, if you haven't had a chance to listen to episode 45. Check that out. And another great way to get some warmer clothes for the warmer weather for your kids is to shop consignment or thrift stores. But on episode 45, interview the gals from Just Between Friends, and that's for our local sale. It's a local pop-up consignment store or consignment sale, but they're all over the US. So if you have one near you, that's a great place to save some money and get some really great items for your friends and family. House projects, whether you're decluttering or organizing home repairs, it's that time of year, a new season. And so having some of those things in mind, if you have maybe some bigger home repairs that you know you're going to need to be making maybe later on this year or maybe into next year, is start saving for some of those things. All right. So that's a lot of things for the month of April. Now, there's also all of the regular things of, keeping a roof over your head and keeping food on the table for you and your family. And so, if budgeting is an area that you're like, I feel like I have one that's not working, or maybe you've never made a budget before, I highly recommend the 5-day challenge on my website. That's going to take you step by step through the same process that my husband and I went through to eliminate our $107,000 of consumer debt. But it's also going to give you really small actionable steps to build that very first budget and evaluate some of your spending to see, is this what aligns with my family and what matters most to us and where we're headed. That's what I have for you today. This is something that we do every single month in the Alliance coaching membership, where we get on a call together and I go through some of these things. I have a few slides, help answer some questions, and then we just work alongside each other on our budgets. Now, the thing about this that I get asked a lot is like, wait a second, are we sharing screenshots? No. We're not going to be sharing screenshots. I won't even see your budget unless you actually share it with me. So a lot of my clients are like, I don't really want to show this to you. And some of them are like, here it is. Like, let's figure this out. You don't have to ever share your budget with me unless you want to. I would love to give you a non-judgmental response of ways that you can increase your margin. So reduce your expenses, maybe increase your income, and create those things, and maybe challenge some of the previous mindsets that you had that are keeping you where you are with your finances so that you can move forward. And why I'm so passionate about that is because I have been there. It's easy to get on autopilot when it comes to our finances and not want to look at it because we've got some emotions about it, or we just don't have time. And so that's why this 5-day challenge is so great, because it's going to give you about 10 minutes every day for 5 days. So you're not even spending an hour in the whole week, but you're going to get bite-sized chunks that you can put a little bit of time into some big moves for your finances. So it's really some practical stuff. And I tell you what, oh my gosh, day 5 is the one that I get the most responses about because it just blows people's minds. So I hope that today has been an encouragement for you and help you with your April budget. And I would absolutely love to help you. And thank you for sharing your time with me today. And I hope that this information is helpful for you in planning April, and I would love to talk soon.
Thank you for listening to the Debt Rebel podcast. Now, if you want to take your next step, check out my website, julesthebudgetnerd.com. That's JEWLZ, thebudgetnerd.com. I've created a bunch of resources just for you. So hop on over, check it out, and we can connect more there. If you loved today's episode, I would be honored if you would hit that subscribe button and leave me a review. And remember, every step towards financial independence is a rebellion against debt. So stay strong, keep pushing forward, and fight the good fight. Until next time, Debt Rebels, stay resilient.